Hello everybody and welcome to our SquareMeal Christmas seminar. Thank you so much for joining us. My name is Emily and I head up the Concierge team at SquareMeal, and this is Lizzie, who is our content editor at SquareMeal as well. Hopefully you already know a little bit about SquareMeal, being at the SquareMeal V&E Live show. But on top of our annual yearly show, we also provide a lot of venue inspiration throughout the year as well. Through free printed magazines, you'll find one of those on your chairs already, delivered straight to your desk, weekly email newsletters, and of course our website. We're actually in the process of launching a brand new website, which should be available in a couple of weeks' time, and it will make it even easier for you to search for venues by capacities, by area, etc., etc. So keep your eyes peeled for that and hopefully give us some feedback on what your thoughts are on that website as well. I'm going to talk through a little bit more about the concierge service at the end of the seminar, but for now, I'm going to pass over to my colleague, Lizzie.
Hi, so here today we're going to talk all things Christmas. You should have seen our annual Christmas magazine, which is on your chair. You're welcome to take that home today and use it for all the finer details, to look up capacities, pricing, all that sort of thing. It always seems a bit funny getting into the festive spirit so early, but I'm sure as event professionals you're already used to that. Our editorial team is also very used to that. So this summer, instead of making the most of the limited British summertime, we were testing out all the sort of Christmas party ideas across the city and outside. So today we're going to share some of the highlights for you of the best sort of new venues and things going on to help you plan the perfect classy Christmas do. So the fact that you're already here probably already shows that you know this, but Christmas is a really important part of showing employees that they're valued and building staff morale. We'll start by talking about 10 of our favorite venues, because this is one of the most critical decisions when it comes to planning your Christmas party. And there are so many options, from restaurants, bars, hotels, themed, shared, exclusive, all the different options. So first up, we have the conservatory and the garden room at the Barbican. Now, what I really like about this venue is it's a big cultural institution that most of your guests will already know about. So they'll be excited when they see it on the invite. But what they might not already know is that it's also home to the second largest conservatory in London. The biggest one is actually in Kew, which is hardly surprising. What's nice about this is it means inside is filled with shrubbery, palm trees, and lots of plants, meaning that even in the dead of winter, you can bring a slightly outdoor vibe to your Christmas party. This year, there's also a Lost Jungle theme going on there for Christmas parties, which are based on and inspired by classic adventure movies. Speaking of themes, if that's what you're interested in, it's worth looking at best parties ever. Now, technically, these guys are not a venue, but they are a Christmas party planning specialist, so they can plan something for you in any one of 22 venues in London and outside around the country, and they really are good at doing sort of themed events. So it doesn't always have to be Winter Wonderland, a snowball. You can do something a bit different that your guests might not have seen before. So a couple of examples of what they have on this year is an Enchanted Forest at Tobacco Dock and Midnight in Monte Carlo in Milton Keynes. So now Emily's going to talk a bit about some traditional options.
Yes, so if you do prefer something a little more traditional for your Christmas party, then we would really recommend either the QE2 Centre or the Savoy. This year, the QE2, they've got a snowball party package. It will see the huge venue transformed into a snowy landscape with shimmering lights, glittery tables, that sort of thing. And you can opt for a sit-down dinner or standing reception. Now, over at the Savoy, we were lucky enough a couple of months ago to host a wonderful dinner for 40 of our key corporate guests as well. It was called Christmas in July, and it gave them a really lovely experience of how their Christmas party could be and how it could be set at the wonderful private dining room in the Savoy Grill. So definitely one to consider for your Christmas party. They can take up to 40 seated, and really things like three-piece bands were added as well to really add it to a lovely touch for that amazing venue. So definitely one worth considering.
Okay, so another really good option is the seasonal pop-ups that happen all across the city that you probably already know about, but might not know you can also book for private events as well. What's really good about these venues is they're already on everyone's minds, they're really on trend, and they're already super festive, so they work really well. First up, we've got Hyde Park's Winter Wonderland. It's now in its 11th year, and it's become something of a must-do in the city that everyone sort of goes to each year. If you want to go with a group, you can book a private space in the Bavarian Village for schnitzels and steins, have a sort of table or a larger space, and then go to the ice skating rink for some sort of team building activity. Fun. This year also sees the introduction of the Winter House. So this is a brand new venue that we're really, really excited about. It's in Soho, so it's very central. It's in an ex-church that's been converted. It's also grade 2 listed, and it's going to be run by the Bourne and Hollingsworth group. So if you know Bourne and Hollingsworth, they've got Bourne and Hollingsworth buildings for brunch and things. You'll be familiar with the fact that they do really good cocktails and really good food. So this venue works really nice as an exclusive takeover. It feels more like you're in a sort of old church out in the countryside rather than in the center of Soho. And for one of our last seasonal pop-ups, we thought we would mention Somerset House. Now, this is obviously a really popular option because it's a big London icon. So if you were interested in this, it's one you do need to book fairly early on. There's lots of different spaces inside the main building, but our favorite option is to do a sort of all-inclusive package with an add-on of exclusive use of the ice rink. It's sort of a one-off opportunity to have all your company, all your colleagues on the ice rink in front of the beautiful house at Christmas time. So it's really festive and really, really nice. Another London icon that's really exciting this year is the Natural History Museum. You might already be aware about this, but the Natural History Museum had a really big refurb this year, and that included one of the spaces, which is the Hints Hall, the main hall inside the Natural History Museum. Dippy the dinosaur is now gone, but they've now got a massive blue whale skeleton hanging from the ceiling. So you can host parties underneath the blue whale, which is makes for a really interesting interior and something different. Even if your guests have been before to the museum, they wouldn't have seen it in this light. So it's sort of a first chance maybe to see that. And it's definitely somewhere to go if you want to make a splash with your next event. And outside the capital, we really like Ashdown Park Hotel in Sussex. This is in a converted chapel, and there are 106 bedrooms on site. So you could do this as a sort of overnighter Christmas party, which we are starting to see is becoming a little bit more popular. It's nice that you don't have to worry about your guests getting home after the event. And you also make sort of a bigger deal out of the Christmas do. The last venue I'd like to mention is a personal favorite of mine as a big theatre fan, and that's the Deck at the National Theatre. So this is a rooftop venue on top of the National Theatre. And this year they've enlisted the set designers of the theatre to dress the venue in the style of their upcoming production of Pinocchio. So it's going to be quite cool interiors inside there as well. Before we move on to restaurants, I thought I would just mention a couple caterers. Some venues that you go to, you obviously don't need to make a choice about your caterer because they have an in-house team. But when you do need to make a choice, this is almost as important as choosing your venue. Hungry guests are not happy guests, as I'm sure you've seen before. So we thought we'd just share two of our favorites. So first up, we have Eden Events. Eden Events have really upped its festive game this year. They've got a new Christmas collection menu, which was designed by their executive head chef, Adrian Collichon. It's got some really yummy things on the menu, like a turkey confit croquette with truffle mayonnaise dip, which sounds just amazing. Next up, we've got Boulevard Events. So Boulevard Events have a star canapé this year in the form of the Hunter's Gathering. It was actually a winner of the SquareMeal Canapé Cup. If you're not already aware, every year at SquareMeal Venues and Events Live, we hold a canapé competition where different restaurants and caterers come together to make a canapé, and then they get judged by sort of, I think, almost 100 people to decide who will be crowned the Canapé Cup. It's going on this year. Next year, if you didn't already know about it, you should sign up because you can sign up to be a judge, which is always great. So this canapé that they've got is sort of a combination of venison with wild mushroom, celeriac, and pancetta. So now I'm going to hand over to Emily, who will tell you about some restaurants.
Thank you. So obviously Christmas really is all about food and drink. So where better to host your office party than in a venue or restaurant that specialises in just that as well. So whether you're looking for something serving sort of top-notch 3-course Christmas dinners, or you want to save the traditional turkey for the 25th, hopefully we've got some really wonderful options to share with you today. A full list of all of our favourites are of course in the magazine, but just to talk you through a couple of the newest restaurants today. So first up is Red Rooster. So this in-house restaurant at new swanky Curtain Hotel. It does retain its Shoreditch cool, quirky decor inside as well. It's got a twin in New York's Harlem, and like its New York sibling, the Shoreditch menu is really a celebration of America's southern food style as well. So really carried off with a lot of panache. Private dining is available at Red Rooster for up to 18 people, so definitely worth one considering, and the Curtain Hotel is really amazing as well. So next up is the Wigmore. So this best of British pub cum restaurant is found inside the lovely Langham Hotel. It comes from the team behind the renowned bar Artisan. Many of you may have been and sampled some of their wonderful cocktails. So it really is very, very different to what their usual style. It is sort of pies, pints and bar stacks, but considerably more polished than your usual pub grub. It's not private dining, but they do have semi-private areas there available for 25 to 40. So if you're looking for something a little bit sort of less private but still in the atmosphere, definitely one to consider is the Wigmore. Next up is Shu. So the team behind the bun sensation Bao have just launched this lovely new restaurant. So it's another Taiwanese spot, and it really does hit the mark with fun, interesting sort of sharing dishes as well. They've got 2 private rooms, the Mahjong rooms, which can seat up to 8 people for private dining. So definitely one for the smaller, maybe office Christmas parties as well. It can be hired exclusively for 74 guests, but again, smaller groups of 8 is really worth considering. Nobu's newest hotel restaurant opened only in July, and the aesthetics and menus really do align with the group's East meets West philosophy. So think contemporary Western design with Japanese detailing all around as well. Private dining is available for up to 18 guests in their room, and again, it can be hired exclusively for 240, but we'd recommend the private dining side as well. Ditch the old bird. Now, what do we mean by this? So, if we're honest, roast turkey will never top a global list of favourite dishes. Most of us enjoy it purely for the sake of tradition, if we're completely honest. So this year, why not do your guests a favour and ditch the old bird in favour of some fresh ideas from some of the best international chefs in town, something a little bit different for you. Just a few of our sort of top tips for not traditional restaurants. So first up is Aquavit. It celebrates all things Nordic. The food is really defined by clean flavours, simple presentation and healthy ingredients. And for Christmas, they are offering a traditional Swedish jolbord, which is a Christmas table to you and I. And it will include roast lamb, meatballs, sausages and homemade sweets, that sort of thing. They will have 5 menus to choose from. They're trying to cater for as many people as possible. There will be a turkey option on there, but of course with a bit of a twist.
So next up we have Seraphina on Adelaide Street. If you've ever tried to get a table there yourself, you'll know that it is very, very busy and hard to get a table sometimes. So a nice option to be able to try the food is to book a private room. And they do have private dining up here up to 32 guests. If you're not familiar with the restaurant, it's an authentic Spanish tapas bar that's owned and operated by restaurateurs Sam and Eddie Hart. And for Christmas, guests can expect wonderful dishes like Seraphina, which is a rich and seafood stew or whole milk-fed lamb. We also really like the Cinnamon Club, because it's always nice to add a bit of spice into your Christmas do. Here, guests can expect a wide range of subtly spiced curries and also roasts with a twist from celebrity chef Vivek Singh, who you can see in this picture here. Food is served on the elegant 32-seat gallery overlooking the main dining room. Again, this is a really nice space for private dining because you get that privacy and seclusion, but as it's above the main room, you still get the buzz from the busy restaurant below and the atmosphere to give to your party. There's also another private dining room and a bar space for standing receptions here as well if you have a bigger group.
And last up is Soria. We really love this restaurant in Mayfair. It gives English tradition a distinctly Italian flair in their menu, in the wine list, and of course their cocktails. So this Christmas, guests can expect sea bass cooked in rock salt or whole suckling pig, so slightly different from the traditional turkey. They have 4 private dining rooms available as well for between 6, 25 and 50 guests. So shared Christmas parties. So hopefully we've talked you through quite a few venues and restaurant options as well. But many of you we know will have sort of smaller offices, smaller groups. So it's always worth thinking about shared Christmas parties. First up, the group Awesome Events. They're offering a range of shared parties this winter. Really great for sort of teams of 10 is their minimum, and that's just one table, really. But it gives you the chance to experience the party atmosphere without all the associated production costs as well. A full range of their locations can be found in page 2, so it's literally after the inside page on the magazine of all of their party locations as well. So you can expect sparkling receptions, 3-course seated dinners, and superb entertainment in their shared parties as well. This Christmas, the Ivory Vaults are offering its guests the chance to experience a medieval journey. So come ready to eat a 5-course banquet with wine and ale, and to finish the night by dancing into the early hours. Now, this venue has 9 separate spaces available for up to about 50 guests. So if you have sort of larger numbers than sort of 10, 20, up to 50, you can hire one of their 9 spaces in the vaults. Exclusively, it can be hired for up to 450 people as well, and their packages start from £59 per person. So a very different type of experience there. Lizzie mentioned the Winter House earlier on, but I am going to mention it again. It is one of our sort of favourite new venues at the moment, but they do offer some amazing shared party options. So obviously they've taken over the lovely Grade 2 listed ex-church in Soho for 2017. From the 23rd of November to the 23rd of December, the party master will lay on festivities with this Welsh chapel. So they've got 3-course dinners, exclusive use standing receptions, both from about £90 per person as well. So definitely worth a look for this lovely, unique venue. Uh-oh. And last up, London Stadium. So Queen Elizabeth Olympic Park's main attraction, the London Stadium, offers a host of box-fresh event spaces, covering business events through to Christmas parties and away days as well. So this amazing venue, numbers are sort of TBC at the moment, but it can be sort of hired for sort of all their different private dining spaces within smaller groups, sort of 10 to 20. Packages are around £84 per person as well. So a huge space with lots of different private dining spaces as well.
Okay, so now we're going to talk about some of our favorite hospitality options for this year's festive season. These work really nice if you have a smaller office, or if you want to reward the top performers, or maybe take out the top senior partners. So yeah, there's a lot of different options for this. We'll start with performances, because a trip to the theatre always feels particularly special at Christmas time. The Old Vic has a very traditional option this year in the form of A Christmas Carol, the Dickens classic. Over at Sadler's Wells, you can go and see Cinderella, which is Matthew Bourne. If you haven't heard of him, he's a big-time British director and choreographer, and he's putting on his own interpretation of Cinderella this year, setting it in World War II. It will definitely be a sort of wonderful festive performance. So that would be a nice one. And over in the West End, there's lots of big crowd pleasers there that have really good hospitality packages if you wanted to add on something a bit more VIP. So you could go to Aladdin, the musical at Prince Edward Theatre, or Dreamgirls at the Savoy. If you're more interested into sports, then there's definitely some options out there this Christmas season as well. We've got the Champions Tennis at the Royal Albert Hall. As you can see from the picture, it makes for a pretty grand setting when you're watching the tennis. This year we'll see people like Tim Henman and Pat Rafter entertaining the crowds. There's a lot of VIP packages here as well that can do nice little add-ons. For instance, you can even arrange for a Q&A with one of the tennis legends after the match. Another option for sports is the William Hill World Darts Championship. This is over at Alexander Palace. Of course, here the atmosphere is slightly more lively than it would be at the tennis, but they do have some sort of sophisticated areas as well. Finally, I'd like to mention cinemas, where you can host something for a larger event. So if you wanted to do hospitality for a bigger group of people, you could do that here. Again, you could still do it small if you went for one of the smaller private cinemas. A Christmas classic like Elf or Home Alone always goes down very well. And a few different cinema venues like BAFTA, 195 Piccadilly, and Rich Mix already have festive film packages on offer, which start from as little as £25 per person. I'd also suggest maybe choosing something a bit different. It's nice to go for a festive film, but if you go for something new, that's exciting as well. You could even choose the new Star Wars film, which comes out in late December, and I'm sure you'll be very popular with your guests. So next, we're going to go through the organizer's guide, which is on page 77 of your magazine. This is just a sort of roundup of all the different things to bear in mind when you're planning your event, and we just thought we'd sort of round off with a few of these key points. So first of all is budget. Everybody's budget varies a lot, and sometimes you have to stick to strict guidelines and things like that. And there's lots of ways that you can be careful with your budget if you're aware of doing that. If you do want to keep to a strict budget, you should always look out for all-inclusive packages, because then you can avoid any surprises at the end of the night. You also want to maybe consider the date when you're looking at this. So Christmas is generally thought to be in December, but if you look at November or January dates, you could save on price sometimes. And also it might work out better for the company if that's a less busier time of year. Lunch options are also another way to save money, and colleagues will thank you for the extra time out of the office. As for entertainment, you can look to save on budget if you choose a band that can do all sorts of different entertainment through the night. So when you're asking for different entertainment choices, check and see if maybe they can start out by doing acoustics when people arrive, and then bring in the party tunes later on in the evening. Finally, I just wanted to mention photo booths. Photo booths are always really fun at events. People love taking pictures, and it's nice that they can have a memento to take home and remember the Christmas party for the rest of the year. Have it not home, sorry, take it to their office and put it on their desk. We've got a lot of different photo booths at the show here today. For instance, we have super booths, which I think are on stand A5 down in the vaults, and they can incorporate all sorts of things like flashing lights and air blowers and sound and things, so you can go check them out there. Emily's just going to share a few points as well now.
So obviously venue is key when booking your Christmas party. Hopefully we have given you a really good range of ideas. But one sort of key tip when considering the venue is to really think about everybody within your organisation. So the Christmas party isn't just for the CEO, it is for the junior ranks as well. And it is really worth considering a venue or a restaurant that's really going to tick all the boxes for everybody. So really think about the venue, make sure it's good location-wise for everybody, that it's easy for everybody to get to and from, and that it is just thinking about everybody within the organisation. Obviously, food and drink, again, incredibly important. So our top tip as well, if you are, whatever you're having, if it's going to be a formal sit-down dinner, it's going to be a drinks reception with some bowl food and some canapés, just make sure that you are ordering enough as well. People don't like to go hungry. It doesn't have to be a hugely costly affair if you are looking for a standing reception, but it really is worth doing your research when it comes to the food and drink. A lot of the venues will already have their in-house caterers, but there are separate caterers if you are looking to hire a venue that will allow that as well. So really is worth thinking about the food and drink option, that you are not sort of scrimping on that in your festivities as well. And the next day, so if it is on a school night and you are having your party not on a Friday, it's really worth thinking about the next day as well. So if you're handing out goodie bags to your guests, maybe just pop some water, some paracetamol, or a midnight snack in there as well. Will really go down a treat. And the next day, if you are being generous, lay on some bacon sandwiches for your colleagues. Make sure that they're not feeling absolutely horrendous, and just make sure that everybody is still in the Christmas spirit as well. Lastly, just wanted to talk to you about our free concierge service as well. So I head up that team. We do have a hub downstairs as you come up to the vaults, from the vaults even. We're right there, you can't miss us. For any of your venue needs, so it's completely free service. If you're looking for a Christmas party venue, you're looking for a private dining room or anything in between meetings, conferences, you can come to us directly with your requirements, and we will send through venue options to you free of charge. So we spend a huge amount of time visiting all the wonderful wonderful venues in our portfolio. A lot of them are here today as well. So please do use us. Make sure that you're sending through those inquiries to us. We can then contact the venues on your behalf and send you through a full proposal, which will hopefully save you a lot of time as well. So please do use us. As well, we also offer additional reward points for every booking that you make through the concierge service. Many of you may know about rewards on the restaurant side, but it's just a way of us rewarding you and saying thank you for using the SquareMeal service, concierge, or the online restaurants. Just to give you an idea, 500 points is a MAC lipstick, ladies, and gentlemen, you might like a MAC lipstick. And literally, that's just one booking through the concierge service, completely free. So if you are booking things anyway, why not use us, let us do it for you, and get lovely reward prizes as well.